Good, happy Tuesday evening. I'm Riley King, and welcome to the Riley King Newscast, right here on the Riley King Network. Let's begin. We have a lot of news this evening, so let's get started. First up, police call death of 1-year-old girl in Manchester suspicious. Death under investigation, police say. Let's take a listen to the video from WMUR News 9, Andy Hirschberger.
The New Hampshire Department of Corrections has immediate openings for corrections officers. Apply today.
Well, Manchester police say that the deceased is a 1-year-old girl who was found at this hotel in Manchester on Monday evening. Police were called to the Econo Lodge on West Hancock Street at about 6 o'clock last night. Police say that the little girl was taken to the Catholic Medical Center where she was pronounced dead. There are a few other details about what happened.
This is considered a suspicious death at this point, but as for any arrest, it's too soon right now. This is still a very active investigation.
An autopsy is being performed right now that could shed some more light on what happened. And as you can see, that the Manchester Police Crime Unit is on the scene, as well as another cruiser, and they're expected to be here for a while. Reporting live, I'm Andy Hirschberger, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Former Governor nominee Molly Kelly endorses Elizabeth Warren for president. Kelly calls Massachusetts senator inspiring with a core understanding of economic injustice. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
When family and friends come together on a beautiful day, what better place to be than in your own backyard?
First on News 9 today, Elizabeth Warren is landing an endorsement in the first-in-the-nation primary. 2018 Democratic nominee for governor Molly Kelly is backing Warren in her bid for the White House. A former 5-term state senator, Kelly lost to Governor Chris Sununu in 2018. She was pursued by nearly every presidential candidate for her endorsement and says Warren won out on the strength of her policy plans.
Everybody who meets Elizabeth Warren is inspired by her. They're inspired by her energy. They're inspired by her thinking that we can imagine. We really can, and we do imagine what is possible. But the thing about Elizabeth Warren is she has plans.
Senator Warren welcomes Kelly's endorsement, saying in a statement, her support means the world to me.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Former Rye nursing home worker convicted of simple assault on resident. Let's take a listen to that video from WMUR News 9.
There'll be hogs and goats and geese and sheep and all the chowder you can eat in a big parade with floats and marching bands.
A former custodian accused of touching an elderly woman at a memory care facility in Rye has been found not guilty of sexual assault. Jurors did convict 69-year-old Hugh McIntyre of simple assault. This coming after allegations that he took advantage of the victim's age and disability. Sentencing is set for December.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. Police ID possible suspect in Emerson College student's homicide, report says. Let's take a listen to that video from WCVB Boston.
They'll be halting goats and geese and sheep and all the chowder you can eat in a big parade with floats and marching bands.
Tel 5 investigates detectives have identified a possible suspect in the death of 19-year-old Daniel Hollis. Hollis was with friends in Brighton on September 28th when he was punched during a disagreement. This is video after the incident. The Emerson College student suffered severe head injury, which his family described as brain damage. He died on Wednesday after spending several days in a coma. Well, sources tell us investigators are now focusing on a man who is a Marine stationed in California. Sources say the Marine Corps is now cooperating in the case. Hollis's death was ruled a homicide, and Boston police and the Suffolk County DA's office are investigating. Karen Anderson, 5 Investigates.
All right.
Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And now let's take a look at your U.S. stock market and see how your U.S. stock market closed for this Tuesday evening. And here's a look at that U.S. stock market for all of you. Your Dow Jones Industrial Average closed in the red and went down. Your Nasdaq closed in the red and went down. S&P 500 closed in the red and went down. Gold closed in the green and went up. Oil closed in the red and went down. U.S. 10-year closed flat. Euro/USD closed in the green and went up. And VIX closed in the green and went up. Dow drops more than 300 points as optimism around U.S.-China trade talks dims. Stocks fell sharply on Tuesday as investors optimize around the upcoming U.S.-China trade talks faded. Trump faces swift backlash on Syria decision. Let's take a listen to that video from ABC News.
But first, we're going to get right to the confusion growing this morning over President Trump's sudden decision to withdraw U.S. troops from a key part of Syria. The move getting backlash from both parties. This morning, our chief global affairs correspondent, Martha Raddatz, starts us off. She has the latest for us there in Washington. Good morning, Martha.
Good morning, Robin. A U.S. official telling me this morning that the commander of those Kurdish forces who have fought and died in the fight against ISIS sent an emotional letter to U.S. forces saying he knows they would not betray his soldiers. He understands it is President Trump's decision alone, a decision that has blindsided the Pentagon and lawmakers who are warning of dangerous fallout. In parts of northern Syria this morning, U.S. forces acting on orders from President Trump, now all but gone.
We want to bring our soldiers back home. These are the endless wars.
Abandoning the Kurdish allies the U.S. has long relied on to fight ISIS. Kurds losing thousands of soldiers in that fight against the caliphate. The situation on the ground coming after an extraordinary 24 hours in which President Trump, after a call from Turkey's President Erdogan, first essentially gave the green light for Turkey to launch a military operation against the Kurds, American allies, who Erdogan considers terrorist insurgents. The White House saying Turkey will soon be moving forward with its long-planned operation into northern Syria. United States forces, having defeated the ISIS territorial caliphate, will no longer be in the immediate area. But the reaction at home and from the president's own party, swift and furious. The president's closest ally on Capitol Hill, Lindsey Graham, attacking Trump's decision.
Senator, I'm making myself clear how short-sighted and irresponsible this decision is, in my view.
And Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell saying it would increase the risk that ISIS regroup. Even former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley calling it a big mistake. Then the president seeming to change his tune. tweeted this warning to Turkey: if Turkey does anything that I, in my great and unmatched wisdom, consider to be off limits, I will totally destroy and obliterate the economy of Turkey. I've done it before. The Department of Defense also making clear where it stands, saying in a statement, "We do not endorse a Turkish operation in northern Syria. The U.S. Armed Forces will not support or be involved in any such operation." A U.S. official tells ABC News the biggest fear that the 11,000 ISIS prisoners that the Kurds were guarding could escape, and refugee camps where some children are dancing under the ISIS flag become more of a breeding ground for terrorist activity. After a day of pushback, Trump still appearing confident in his actions, surrounding himself with the Pentagon's top brass.
At some point, we have to bring our people back home, and that's what we're doing. That's what we're doing. Is it a firm decision, sir? It's always a firm decision.
Of course, last December, Trump unexpectedly said he was pulling out all U.S. forces in Syria, which prompted Defense Secretary Jim Mattis to resign. Trump eventually reversed the decision, leaving 1,000 troops in Syria. But a senior official says the Pentagon is now working on initial planning to pull out those troops in the next 30 days, although that could change.
Hi, everyone. Okay, and there you go on that video and that report. And that does it for this evening edition of the Riley King Newscast right here on the Riley King Network. I hope you all have a great rest of your Tuesday evening, and I'll see you back here tomorrow for another newscast. And I'll have a news report coming up in a little bit. Good night, and bye, everyone.